Hello, future viewers. I'm Regdrin, and I want to talk about Akashicverse. To understand how Akashicverse treats its players, you should watch what happens when Story Mode is activated. It's off by default, which is a little odd considering it just adds some conversation text to the gameplay. Then you play the game and, oh, that's why. This is not one of those games that pauses so you can read things. The game is like, oh, you want text? Okay, here you go. Hope it doesn't get in your way. Hope it doesn't distract you and get you killed, because that would be embarrassing, huh? Wouldn't it, huh? Akashicverse is a shmup. In other words, it's a game where you control a character with a small hitbox, and you blast things for score. The details, though. Oh boy. I'll go over all the nitty-gritty specifics in another video, but here's some of the basics. If you ever take an undefended hit, you get an instant game over. There are no lives in this game. You do have a shield that can take some hits for you, and you have some tricks that can clear bullets, block bullets, reflect bullets, or turn you into an invulnerable boss robot. You have to genuinely mess up to take that one lethal hit. But damn is it lethal. To fuel those tricks that keep you alive, you need to let bullets pass through your wings. The catch is that if you want really fast energy recovery, you need to turn off your shield because you can't have that and your full strength wings at the same time. That means every time you use them, you risk that instant death I was talking about. You also need your wings open when you kill enemies if you're playing for score, though at that point the enemies are dead and you're probably invulnerable, so that's less of a problem. Despite the unusual controls, and don't worry, I'm going to talk about that, what stands out the most for me is the level design. The game will throw out lots of situations and defy you to optimize them. Yes, I know that's most shmups, but the combination of constant energy management and unforgiving game mechanics makes things complicated. At least when the game system works, which is often enough to make the game fun for me, but definitely not 100% of the time. One of the powers you have is too good, and trivializes some parts of the game, especially if you're not playing for score. Don't get me wrong, this game is enjoyable enough if you want to focus on making it to the end, but there is a lot more to explore and think about if you're willing to push your score as high as you can. So that's the what and the why. Now we're going to talk a bit about the how. You can see on the left that you've got a move list, and each one of them has an energy cost. This game has a button specifically for executing commands, so you do the motion for whatever move you want, and then press the command button, and yay, it works! Now just do that in a bullet hell situation with the knowledge that if you mess it up, you'll probably die. Get that down, and you're golden. Funny enough, the game originally had a different control scheme, and you can still choose that if you want. In that version, you press the command button first, and it activates an interface as well as slowing down all the bullets around you so you can execute the thing that you want to do. This has some pretty nice advantages, such as not having to worry about what directions you pressed beforehand while you are trying to stay alive. So for example, in the immediate control scheme, if you pressed right to dodge something, and then you pressed down left to use a skill, you'd get right down left and you'd do a different move than what you wanted, and that would throw off your routing and probably get you killed. Not a problem with the old control method. The drawback is that executing that whole thing is slower, you can't rapid fire moves like you can with the newer style of controls, and that's going to affect your score in certain places. It is a lot more stable though. As for what those moves actually do, well, they do a lot of different things. You have energy-efficient melee attacks, a sort of homing move that's there for killing swarms of small enemies, a classic screen-cleaning bomb that does almost no damage, an expensive manually aimed move that's very important for scoring because it can have a high multiplier on it. There's that bullet reflection thing that not only makes you invulnerable for a long time, but you can freely recover energy during that invulnerability, so you can basically chain it forever. There's the huge invulnerable robot that's also good for scoring, but you have to kill a bunch of enemies before you're allowed to use it, and that number of things you have to kill increases with every use, so you have to be kinda careful about that, and there's a few other moves. It's pretty easy to get option paralysis in this game, especially when starting out. But I really appreciate that this game gives you all your tools, or at least almost all of them, right at the start of the game, so it's one of those games where you sort of level up by increasing your skill at using them instead of any sort of character in-game progression. I love that sort of thing. That's most of the explanation done, and now the finale. There is a reason I put up with all that nonsense. You've probably figured it out already, but here it is. Learning the controls and the stages and then executing the things that you want to do successfully feels great. That's something the game does really well. It rewards good play by letting you vaporize pretty much anything in an instant, and there's lots of places in the stages that make it obvious that you're supposed to do this, with continuously respawning enemies and such. Combine that with how quickly the game can end you for messing up, and you get this tense, fast-paced experience most of the time. Even though it's not 100%, I think it's more than enough. It's a really good time if you're willing to invest in it. That's what I think of Akashicverse. Thanks for watching.